Hey yo, card market people, you're back with me, Hot Choc, and today I've got a super cool video for you. Have you ever wondered the sort of right count and how to build a competitive Pokemon deck? Well, I've got my camera set up and I've got my deck. I'm going to talk to you through exactly how to do it, baby. Let's go. Alright then, so the first thing you're going to want to know is that if you want to build a standard legal deck, which most events are standard these days, you're going to want to make sure that your cards have this little D mark. That basically means that you can use these in standard legal events. So make sure they've all got the D, most of them will, okay? So Pokemon are the first things you're going to want to think about. Now, for a normal deck, you're going to run anywhere between 10 on the low side to 20 or 25 Pokemon, depending on your archetype. Now, I have an Eternatus VMAX deck here. So the first thing I'm going to want to do is make sure I have a full evolution line of that. Now, don't forget, if you want to run evolution, so like stage 1s or stage 2s, you have to run the basic to get them into play. So I want to get the Eternatus VMAX into play as fast as possible. So I'm going to run a maximum 4 count of that. And to do that, I'm going to have to run 4 Eternatus Vs as well to make sure I can get there super fast. The goal of an Eternatus deck is to get 8 Darkness Pokemon in play as fast as possible. So maxing out the counts there is pretty nice. I have to say, if you're running like a stage 2 deck, let's say you're running Gardevoir, for example, you're probably going to want to run 4 Volts and maybe some Curliers as well, just to get them into play. Now, there are going to be a ton of support Pokemon in the format, stuff like Crobat, Eldegoss, Mew, and Jirachi. And obviously, in the Eternatus deck, you want to have as many Darkness Pokemon in play as possible. So 4 Crobat will help us do this. Right, now in Eternatus, we run 2 Galarian Moltres here just to act as another attacker. And it's a good thing in your decks to try and have a backup attacker in case your main strategy isn't working. Let's say in like an Ice Rider deck, you run a few Suicunes just so you can have a different attacker in case you can't get your Ice Rider rolling. And we run 2 Moltres here for the Aura Burn ability attack that does 3 for 190. And for its Dire Flame Wings ability, which lets you get a Darkness Energy and attach it to it from the discard pile. Super handy. We also run a Galarian Moltres to act ourselves as a non-rulebox attacker, because there are certain decks like Decidueye that don't take damage from rulebox Pokemon. So we've got to run a Galarian Moltres for this. And then our last Pokemon we play is another support Pokemon with that Liepard, with that ability that when you bench him, lets you discard a tool from one of your opponent's Pokemon. So this is all the Pokemon that we run here in the Eternatus deck. A little bit higher than normal. But like you said, it depends on what VMAX you're playing. So if you're playing like an Ice Rider VMAX, you're going to want to have, you know, Ice Riders and Suicunes and then Inteleons. So I'd recommend going through what you've pulled, see what's good. You can always Google so-and-so deck and see what comes up. But that's the Eternatus part. The rest of the deck will include supporters, trainers, and energy, and this is where decks will start to look a lot more similar. So we're going to start off with supporters here. You tend to run anywhere between 12 to 60 supporters. They have really strong effects, these supporters, right? You can only use once per turn, but they tend to have super strong effects. Like we run 4 Professor's Research here, and most decks will run 4 Professor's Research because it lets you discard your hand and draw 7 cards. That is an insane effect, and it keeps you in the game. Let's say you've got a dead hand, you get a Research, you can just ditch all them away and get the game going again. So we play 4 Professor's Research, and like I said, for the most part, all decks tend to run 4 Professor's Research. Another supporter that you'll see a ton of in different standard decks is Marnie, because it's probably the second best draw supporter we have, and it lets you disrupt your opponent. So what it does is let you shuffle your hand, put it to the bottom of your deck, then you draw 5, your opponent draws 4. Again, for the most part, you will see these in all standard legal decks. And then our last supporter that we play here is 4 Boss's Orders, which lets you win the game by, you know, swapping your opponent's active, letting you KO exactly what you want to KO. Again, you will tend to see Boss's Orders, Marnie, and Research in all decks. Other supporters you might see are things like Zinnia's Resolve, Milo, and Cheryl. These all have powerful effects, and you want to run anywhere, like I said, between, 8 and 16 of supporters. The next thing we're going to look at now is items, and these can fill a whole lot of your deck, anywhere between 15 to 20. You can play as many items as you like during your turn, and these are just going to help you keep ticking over, going to help you find Pokemon, switch your Pokemon's active, you know, evolve. They do a whole ton of stuff. Again, you're going to see Quick Ball in pretty much every standard list. We got 4 quick balls here today, and they let you find basic Pokemon. So whether or not you're playing an all basic deck like a Suicune sort of attacking deck, you need basic Pokemon. If you're playing an evolving deck like a VMAX deck or a stage 2 deck, you need basic Pokemon. That's why a quick ball you're going to see in a whole ton of decks. Another good searching card in the standard format right now is Great Ball, because finding Pokemon in the Pokemon trading card game is really important. You can't really play the game unless you can, have your Pokemon get set up. So Great Balls help us do that. And then another card we play here is Evolution Incense, which lets us get our Evolution Pokemon into play super fast. Now, we also play 3 Switch. This is a super important card that you'll see in a whole ton of decks again, which lets you switch around your active. It's pretty simple. And then we play 2 energy switches as well. Not an uncommon card. This is going to let us get our energies from our Moltres and sling them up to whatever Pokemon we like. But we also play some tool cards. Tool cards you tend not to see too much, anywhere between 0 to 4, depending on the list. Some decks are really reliant on tools, some decks aren't. We kind of are with this list. We play 2 Tool Jammer, which essentially turns off your opponent's tools, and then 1 Air Balloon, so we can retreat for less. The next kind of cards we're going to see here are stadiums. Now this is interesting, because similar to the tool cards, some decks will play 0 stadiums, some decks can play as high as 4, depending on how good the stadium is for your chosen archetype. Here today we play 2, which is the Chopping Center, which lets you get a tool card attached from one of your Pokemon and put it into your hand. Some stadiums are mad for decks and some aren't. Eternatus is kind of, we don't really need that many, so we only play 2 here. And then the last kind of card you will see is energy. Now you've got 2 types of energy, basic and special. If you're playing special energy, you can only run 4 of that kind, but you can run as many basic energy as possible. But you can run more than one different kind of special energy. So let's say you want to run twin energy and capture energy. You can do that, but as long as you only have 4 capture energy and 4 twin energy. So we do play a special energy in this deck. We only play 1 though. It's capture energy. It's really helpful at finding Pokemon and putting them on our bench. And then we round the list off with some basic dark energy. Again, you can remember you can run as many of these as you like. We run 10 basic dark. Now, normally for energy, I recommend, 12 and under, okay? Between 8 and 12. If you don't run a minimum of 8, you might struggle to see them. And if you run over 12, you're probably going to have too many. But it probably depends on your attacker's energy cost. Like Eternatus attacks for 1 dark, 1 colorless. Not really a terribly high attack cost, so we don't need that many. But if you're running a deck like Shadow Rider Calyrex that needs a whole ton of energy in play, you might run as high as 18 with some of those lists. So let me know what you think. Are you looking to build a deck? Hopefully this helps. We're going to try and have more videos coming out here where we help people get into the competitive scene. So, have your 60 card deck list, go online or to some events and let me know how you do. But thanks for watching and I'll see you all next time.